Mr. Josh Gavin, it is a pleasure to have you, brother. So I think right now everyone is a little bit freaked out with just the state of AI and how fast everything is moving. I mean, it seems like Claude every day is coming out with something crazy. But from just your knowledge of like all the 800 plus offers you've done, all the very impressive things, what would you say like the playbook is now in terms of like building and scaling a business for 2026 and beyond, just with how fluid everything's kind of become?
Yeah, I think early on in my journey, I was put into a box by people who would sell me programs, courses, or gurus telling me that I had to attach myself to one specific identity to make money. Usually it was, oh, you're a funnel builder, you're an agency owner, you're a copywriter, you're a media buyer, you're a drop shipper. Like there's always these identities that were put on us. And it makes sense why they would do that. I mean, that's how you create a movement. So that people want an identity. They want to be able to call themselves something. What we've started to even see with all the changes in AI, and like you said, things being so fluid, that's resulted in people kind of hitting a dead end once they realize that their identity is being replaced by a language model. And so what happens then is that's where you start to see people start to freak out because all of a sudden their identity is being taken. They're like, how am I supposed to make money? How am I supposed to survive? Because what I called myself, what gave me security was this job title, this description, this identity that I held on to. And if AI takes that, then who am I? Well, for me, I was lucky enough to have people in my life like Alan Sultanic who quickly helped me realize like, dude, don't try to be a copywriter. Don't try to have these identities. He told me that the identity I should take on is the identity of an assembler. And I was like, okay, well, what is an assembler? And then he went on to tell me how some of the biggest businesses in the world weren't created from nothing or weren't just like spawned out of nowhere. They were assembled by founders and entrepreneurs who then turn into a financial model or a business that would add value to the world and then make money. And so he gave the examples of, you think about the iPhone. It's like they didn't create every single part in the iPhone. They assembled different parts and technology and glass from here and batteries from this country, this or that
Hmm.
into a smartphone, which then sold and then became Apple, which is a company. But he was just assembling pieces for the product. He assembled people to build a product. He assembled, people to do the advertising. It's just assembly. And so for me, when it comes to these changes with AI, I'm like, bro, it's just another thing that makes my assembly process easier. Like now, instead of having to assemble people, which is expensive and also could go wrong, I can assemble AI agents that we create and do that. And even then, even further, it's like, okay, do I need to be the best at AI? No, I just go find someone who's really good at AI, assemble them to make what I need, and then we're good. On top of that, training a language model, well, how do I prompt it? How do I keep up with that? Bro, just assemble information that's already out there from very smart people into the model and then use that. So for me, I'm never afraid when there's changes or things coming in and out, because at the end of the day, I'm an assembler. I'm always going to use my creative thinking to assemble tools, people, products, solutions in the market to turn it into a financial model that makes me money. And I think a lot of people could hear that and be like, well, what financial model? Or what do you mean? Or like, and they get, because they're still in a box, they're still early in the stage where it's like, they aren't stepping into their true entrepreneurial spirit, where it's like, where's a problem that needs a solution? How do I assemble something to make the solution? And we sell it to those people. We're so used to, here's the template, here's the process, here's the course, here's how to price it here. And people get skewed by that. So it's like, if you're not there yet in that hearing that a thinking process of being an assembler freaks you out, you're just young in the game. It's early, you'll get there. But just know that like the sooner you can detach from that identity, the better. And so I think for everyone watching this, if you can switch and be like, hey, I'm an assembler, I assemble things, then we're chilling. So now for me, it's like, that's awesome. I love AI. It just makes assembly way cheaper, way easier. And then once you get good at assembly, then you graduate to the next stage, which is quality control. So you're a quality controller and you're quality controlling the things you've assembled. So right now we took an offer from zero to $145,000 last month in a brand new market. I have no experience, no reps. It's an info brand. I'm not the coach. I'm not the face. Someone else is. and I assembled the product creator to be the product and the coach. I assembled a sales team to sell. I don't touch the sales reps. I don't talk to them. The marketing team I assembled from my certified students that I trained up and taught my marketing skills to. And I just quality control the whole product. I have full ownership of the ad accounts, the credit cards, the bank accounts, everything. It's all through my stuff, but I assembled them and gave them an amazing opportunity. And all of a sudden we went from 0 to 145,000 a month info brand in a market that's, barely touched, and I have no reps, no experience. And it's like, how's that possible? It's like, well, I'm just assembly. And then I quality controlled it, making sure the output is good. And then you're like, okay, how do you know what quality is? Bro, just compare to other people who are bigger and better than you, compare your stuff to theirs. Theirs is obviously quality if they're making more money than you or bigger than you. So you assemble other people to be your quality control. It's so simple. Like in my mind, I'm like, dude, it's just, you're just assembling different pieces of the puzzle. And so now it's crazy. I know I can go to any market at any point, any given time, assemble a product, a team, a sales team, and go make money in that market, even if I have no reps. And so I feel like more people need to start taking on that identity and prove themselves that's possible by doing it. And that will remove any fear of things being fluid and changing.
It's such a great perspective. I think like at its fundamental core, it's like doing the work on the business versus in the business, which is like the number one, uh, probably the number one mistake that people make. And then I even think about it from like like I love sports. Like take football for example. Like what does a coach do? He assembles a really good staff, and then his job is literally just quality control, like overseeing the whole thing.
Yep.
And then so I think where people kind of struggle with this is like in those first early stages when they feel like it's just kind of them doing this thing by themselves. And they kind of struggle to be able to be, good enough at the thing themselves and like be able to do all the shit that they don't like doing to kind of graduate into that assembly phase. Is that how you think about it? Or would you say like a lot of times it's probably just better off the bat to find someone doing the thing, maybe find someone with an audience, something like
I
that,
think
and then
I think at an early stage, you're already in the assembly business. You just don't realize it, because when you're going out there and if you're learning a new skill set, you're assembling someone else's experience into you to become your experience, and you're going out there and assembling, whatever you learn from. Like we're never creating anything from scratch. We're always in the business of assembly. I just don't think we realize it and lean into it more. Like we assemble stuff to get started, and then we get stuck. And then we're like, oh shoot, I got to create a way to get out of this, instead of being like, who can I assemble? Whether it's people, information, as simple as I'm talking like going on YouTube. Like people right now could take the information we're showing right now, assemble that into their business to solve a problem and move forward. So I think obviously, when it comes to, it doesn't matter what you're doing, how you're making money. But yeah, if you feel like you can't get into a given market because of the lack of your experience or reps or ability or capability or finances or that, there's always a way to arbitrage or assemble a business so that you can go into that market, which is what I wanted to prove to myself when we took on a brand in a market where I had never done it before. It was in the health market. I've never sold health offers before, let alone high ticket. We've never done that. We've never touched it. And I was like, okay, let me test my theory. Can we do this? And we made it work, and we're still growing it. And obviously it's still baby numbers compared to what we believe it can become and people adjacent markets are making, but it's still proof that like you can go out there and assemble things. So I think if you're starting off, it's like you're already in the business of assembly. You just need to double down on it. And I think what that does is it relieves the pressure or stress when you get stuck. Like when things aren't working or things are broken, I don't freeze up and like, oh no, I don't know what to do, or like I need to solve this. I'm just like, bro, someone else needs to solve this for me. Let me go. All I need to go is find someone who can assemble that information into what we're doing. And then I go exhaust my network, AI, social media, connection. Like there's always a way. There's always somebody who knows the solution of what you're going through. And I just go out there and find that person and go figure it out. So I love those moments. I honestly enjoy when it's like your back is against the wall and I'm like, oh my gosh, like we have this massive problem. Who can I go like assemble to solve this for us? Like that's so fun for me, because once you do get solved, it's like, dang, that's crazy. that all I had to do was just go out there and use some of my own like sweat equity and grind to go connect with people or find a solution. And it's like the biggest dopamine hit when you solve a problem in your business. As a team, one thing we do is we like, instead of chasing solutions or like I want to make this much a month or $1 million a month or this much revenue, we don't really chase that. What we look at is, and as a team, is we say like, we can't wait to solve $100,000 a month problems. I can't wait to solve $1 million a month problems, because I think so many times we think there's a point of arrival where it's like, once I make $1 million, my problems go away. And then we're like, we get there and they don't, and then you hate your business. You're like, so you lied to me. Like, what is this? It's like, bro, you just didn't set the right frame. So for us, how we fix that is like, we know that there's gonna be problems and we know they're only gonna get bigger and more exciting and more challenging. And as a team, we're just chasing, like, we're like, we cannot wait to deal with spending $1 million in a day problems. Like what, like imagine that. What problems are you solving at $1 million a day? And also think about what an elite human being you would be to walk into a room and be one of the few people in the world that know how to solve $1 million a day ad spend problems as a founder, a media buyer, whatever it may be. Like that is the ultimate flex. Like that is better than any award that can sit behind you in your backdrop. That is better than any car you could buy. Like the ability to be like, I know how to solve $1 million a day problems, or even, you know, any stage, 10,000. Very few people solve $10,000 a day problems, $20,000 a day, 50, 100. Like these are milestones are cool. And then when you go into it, when problems hit you, you're like, let's go. Like we've hit the next stage. Like I've made it. This is awesome. Like this is what it feels like. That's amazing. And so even with me and my wife, I'm always thinking like, I was talking about, it's like, I can't wait to solve like one kid problems where you have one kid and it's like, we're married, now we have a kid. Like what problems will we be solving in our marriage? And think how much we're going to grow. And then we have 2 kids and then 3 kids. And then, you know, I can't wait to solve 18-year-old kid problems where it's not an 18-year-old kid. What is that going to be like? Like I look at life through like, I'm chasing the problems. And if I'm not solving problems, I'm not growing. But early on, I'd run from problems. I'd be scared. Oh no, like run from problems. Let's make sure it's all safe and perfect. Like that doesn't help you. That doesn't help you move forward. And so I realized, I was like, wait, everyone who's bigger than me, making more than me, like they just run towards problems and they're not afraid of that. And I was like, okay, I need to do that. And so I love the quote from Alan Sultanic where he says, what keeps us safe limits us. And so avoiding problems keeps us safe, but it limits us. And so I'm like, you know what? As a team, we are desiring, and like, especially as a marketer, like, dude, it's so funny. I realize there's this propaganda that's been put out there that says, you know, from biz ops being like, you can get started without running ads. Like you don't need any ads to start. And so from a very young age, we're conditioned with this fear and a aversion from running ads because, oh, it's like ads, that's scary. We don't want ads. I'm going to lose money. And then we run away from doing it. And so whenever we start increasing our ads, like, oh no, turn them off, turn them off. Oh, no, like we were losing money on ads. I'm scared to run ads. And I'm like, especially for us as marketers, like we should wake up and like desire to spend as much money on ads. Like we're marketers, like we're advertisers. That's like, that should be our favorite thing in the world to do. And so when I reframed that, I was like, wait a second, I love ads. Like that's my business. I'm in the business of spamming people's feeds with ads and running them everywhere. I should desire to have the highest level ad spend. And then also like when you run an effective model, I started to realize like it's such a stupid lie where it's like, oh, if I spend more ads, like my CPA is going to go up all the time and it's going to break. Like people always say like, yeah, once we scaled it past 1,000 a day, things broke and we had to scale back. But they never explain, what does that even mean? What does that mean it broke? Like what broke? Like you had 1 bad day, 2 bad days, or your sales process broke, or you just like, things just changed up. You went into more unaware markets as a change your messaging. Like nothing broke. You just faced a new problem that you had to solve and you were scared. And so you turned off the ads and scaled back. So what I started to realize is like, that's such a lie and just propaganda that's fed into the market. And so now like as a team, I'm always like, dude, like we're not like, if we spend more and then numbers change or things change, it didn't break. Like we just hit a new ceiling. We reached the next level in like a video game, and now we just have to upgrade and fix things and make it better and keep going from there. So yeah, I think that's just a perspective shift I had to have where it's like, hey, let's just chase after these problems, and it's allowed us to grow a lot faster. And not be afraid of the things that normally would limit us.
It's so funny you say that because over the weekend I did Jeremy Haynes's one business coach versus 10 business owners debate
Oh,
on
yeah.
for his channel. So what I
Were you on
debated
it?
him on was yes, yeah, I was on it.
Dude, I was almost
So
there,
what I
dude.
did,
But I was like,
no
dude, how'd it
way.
go?
Oh, it was fun, dude. It was fun, but it's funny you bring that up because the take I had, which he actually completely changed my mind on, is exactly what you're saying. Which my perspective going into it was like, you should master organic content or master running an organic business before going into paid, because organic is like running a business with training wheels on, and it's kind of like this this step ladder that you could kind of build your foundation, figure out how things work, and do kind of play in a more nerf the world, if you will. And his perspective on it was like, I forgot what creature he said, like sea turtles maybe, and he was like, do you know how sea turtles are born? And I was like, enlighten me. And he goes, there's a shit ton of eggs on the beach and 99% of them die on their way to the ocean. And he was like, that is life. And essentially, like, what the reframe for me was just like, and he was saying, in business, that's not death or failure. It's just like next
Yeah.
iteration.
Yes.
And that was kind of the reframe for me, was like, it just speeds up the iteration loop, speeds up how fast you need to fix things, and how, like, where you're at and how quickly you realize that something is not good with your
Yeah.
business. It just speeds up the
Yeah.
process. And I think, I've, like, at my core, I've probably been like way too freaked out by ads my whole life,
Yeah.
just because I hear so much of the propaganda. So
Yeah,
I
dude.
think like that kind of just conditioned my thinking. It's so funny you bring that up because it is very in line with what I talked about this weekend.
Yeah, dude. That's so funny because it's like literally the biggest people, like especially me doing like contract work. I'd work with a lot of people who are seen as like the biggest and had big businesses and they made a lot of money. And like these guys are not that smart. They are not smart. They just like have a higher risk tolerance and just send it and just like spend a ton of money in ads and just like throw it out there. And then they're just like, all right, what do we do now? And I was like, what the heck? Like people who are like methodical and like turning things off and like, oh my gosh, dude, it's just like made me, and like, dude, that wasn't me. Like, I'm not trying to knock on those people, like feel like I've got my whole life. Like this is me coming out on the other side. And like I had to cut off, like I stopped talking to and communicating with friends in the business game who were like that. I was like, bro, why am I hanging around these people? Because then their propaganda, like, yeah, man, like I'm switching my funnel again, or I'm like, turning off my ads after 2 days. And then you think, oh, I got to do that too. Like, oh no, like you start following their example versus I started hanging out with dudes who like were affiliates that would just rip like crazy, or they're going deep on one brand. And I started hanging out with like Ryan Clogg, who if they're only spending $20,000 a day in ads, like that's nothing. Like he's like, we need to spend 100, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I need to spend 100. Like I'm a baby. You start hanging out with those people and you just start taking on that identity. Or Mark builds brands where he's spamming, run more ads, and then you literally just do what he says. You run more ads and your cost per, conversion goes down and your CPMs are actually lower. Like all this, like everything, like when we started spending more in ads, everything that people told me and said about ads or you thought were true were wrong. Like I've yet to see my CPA go up when I spent more on ads with the offer on, at least. Like that, the propaganda was like, has been proven wrong. So now I'm like, all right, I don't trust any of that. I don't believe any of that. So I'm just gonna keep running more ads and just keep spamming more ads out there and keep trying to spend as much as possible.
Let's go, dude. I mean, one of the big reasons I was incredibly excited to have you on the pod is because um, so I've ran this health e-commerce business for call it 2.5 years now. Um, and we run it like completely organic, mainly because organic has worked well for us and we don't have like a ton of margin with our product.
Yeah,
Um,
fair.
so so at this point, I kind of automated that process for that business, and I we work with a lot of doctors for that brand as affiliates and stuff. And one of the doctors who has like 10K on YouTube, I think like 30K on Instagram, and essentially he runs a functional medicine
Yep.
um, doctor's clinic or
Yep.
functional medicine clinic in Chicago. And then he does a lot of virtual care as well. And it's all like cash pay. So it kind of
Yeah.
operates like a coaching offer. And he came to me and he was like, dude, I hate doing anything business related. Like I have just loved helping people and being,
Yeah.
an actual fulfillment of the business. He was like, would you be interested in coming in um and taking like taking over the business side of things and just do a ownership split? So uh the last month or so, I came on as a partner for his business. And
Nice.
I would love to kind of deep dive how you would attack an offer
Mm.
for someone like that.
Yeah, definitely. Is he a generalist in terms of naturopath? Like is he pretty much solving anyone's issue?
It's his niche is autoimmunity and mold.
Okay. Okay. Sick. Yeah. Great. Yeah. That's actually, I almost didn't offer in that, but for female specific, I still have the domains and everything. So if you find like a female for this, that'd be great. We were going to do her. So it's like, there's like hims and hers, and it kind of is very
Yeah,
clear, like the brand, who it's for. It's like very great branding. So I thought of like, oh,
great
we should
branding.
do her detox method. So it's like for women only. And so I bought like her
Nice.
detox method. And then I have like shop dot or no, her detox one like a shop domain for that too. So I was like, we'll do supplements and info, right? You do this or that. So that's like I was already thinking about doing mold. So for health with info, like if it's virtual too, it's very simple. Where the front end is do-it-yourself protocols, they can do it themselves. The back end is always customization, personalization, and accountability, like to speed things up and actually make sure they do it. Because a lot of people they get the protocols, but how many times do you buy a gym workout plan or a lifestyle protocol, but you don't actually follow through with it, or you're wondering like, am I doing it right? Is my body different? And so that's like this, the upsell path is always like protocol, do it yourself, and the back end is speed it up, customization, personalization. So for this is super easy. It's like, all right, let's just do protocol in the front end, order bumps that align with that to help speed it up or make it better. We get them to book a call. We sell them the customization, personalization to their body, and accountability, and expert advice and guidance so they don't feel lost. And then you just rip that. So the offer upsell path is like pretty simple there. Now for him, like obviously he's doing autoimmune and like mold. So like there needs to be like a common enemy of like what you're going against. So like the biggest enemy, of course, in all health is like big pharma and like how the traditional path tells people to do things. So it's always like the sales messaging is so easy in these markets. Big pharma, all these people tell you to do this thing because they want more money from you. It's 100% true. We all know it to be true. The American healthcare system is messed up. It's a scam. It's a ripoff. Like we all know this. We all know healthcare sucks. And I'm not even like that much of like a bullish going deep into it. I just know it's a scam. It's 100% a scam. So like for us as
Mhm.
marketers, it's so easy to throw stones against it because it is. It's a ripoff. It's despicable what these people are doing. Like in our health market offer we're doing, people come to us who've gone through surgeries and shots and all this stuff, and then we fix with a couple movements, like almost in a week or two. And it's like they spent like our expert, he spent $100,000 trying to find a solution, and never got it. And then he found it with some of the basic stuff he could have been doing from home. And it's like, bro, what a scam. So for you as a marketer, it's super easy. It's like throw stones against the traditional way. You know what the product is. We already talked to the upsell path. And then he needs a unique philosophy that they can hold on to. Where like, for example, you
Mhm.
could say, a lot of people, like we have this one fitness offer and I was talking about how like, we don't focus on like burning weight or burning fat. We focus on rebooting, molecules in your body, or as like rebooting your hormones. Like a lot of people, everyone focuses on burning fat, and that just leads to these terrible diets. This that we focus on rebooting natural fat burners in your body that do
Mhm.
the work for you. So it's like a counterintuitive approach. So you need your unique mechanism, and then you just rip that. We have the enemy, we have the unique solution, we have the upsell path, and so we know the offer play. And then obviously for him, you want to go to cold traffic 100%. The biggest thing with health is you need people, like people will pay if they're in pain. So you can't really make money off the people who aren't being proactive. You need people that are like, need a solution right away. So it's kind of like the whole plumber thing where it's like, you're not going to proactively call a plumber to check out your house. You only call them when something's wrong. And we found in health, like your messaging, your targeting, it has to be to people who are need the solution right away. Like you can't convince somebody that's not in pain. You might be in pain one day. It's like, they're like, I'm not right now. I don't have a lot of mold issues or my autoimmune's not that bad. It's just kind of bad. Or like I have this like for me, even like I
Mm-hmm.
have like this stomach pain sometimes. It's not, I don't, it only happens here and there. It's been long enough where I know there's a problem. I've sort of gotten some things checked, but it's not enough to derail my life. And so I'm not being that proactive on it. And if someone were to get on the phone with me and try to sell me a $5,000 offer for something that I'm not really, that's not derailing my life, like the price would outweigh that all the
Yep.
time. I think that's what I've learned being in the health market for info and like what I would do with him and anybody who's in that market.
One side note, try taking a stool test. Have you ever done one of those? Take a GI map test.
GI
I
map
could send you
test.
one. It's actually what, so my ecom business is, it's essentially drop selling,
Yeah.
functional medicine like kits.
Yeah.
Um,
Sick.
and the GI map is the highest quality one. And we've had insane testimonials of people with like really bad gut issues that they're like, oh, I just had like this
Yeah.
parasite and all this stuff. And
Dang,
it's super
bro.
accurate. We've tested it a ton of times.
Heck yeah.
But that's a
Send
side
it,
note.
bro.
So for his
Send it.
offer right now, um, it's almost 100% like a coaching or like typical how a doctor runs, a business. So for him right now, he has a $350 new patient consult as his front end offer. And then from there, he upsells them into a package of like bronze, silver, and gold that is very underpriced. And it's just like 5 visits and lab work, 8 visits and lab work, 12 visits and lab work. And he likes having it underpriced because he likes the high volume, because he's not at capacity, but he's probably close to it. And he gets most of his business through referrals, and he makes a lot of money on back end supplement sales from the protocols. For him, would you go low ticket info product on the front end, kind of like you were describing, and then back end offer straight into hiring more of a sales team? Because right now he does the new client 350 new patient consultation that kind of acts as a sales call with him.
Yep.
How would you kind of approach that funnel? Would you implement more of like a sales team, or would you have him being the one doing that stuff?
Do you know Dr. Josh Axe?
Yeah, very well.
Yeah. So I would do a similar model to them. So like I can share my screen. So like what they do with their ads is he runs them like these different like panels they do. So it's kind of like that
Mm-hmm.
mid-ticket first kind of intro product. Like this is the sales process is a little delayed because they have to take the panel. Then usually what they do is you book a call with a sales rep, but it's framed as like your assessment after you take the test. Then on that call, they
Yep.
flip you over into the sales process. And one of our reps used to sell and still does with the Health Institute, and it absolutely crushes. Like it works amazing. The process. They have a bunch of these like low ticket offers that they run, and they have different ones here. So you can see like
This is
multiple
sick.
products, but they're all these like low ticket offers that they do. But you go and
Yep.
you buy it, you go through it. There's not really any bumps, but then they all get book their call. They take the panel, or sometimes they might need to do the call before they do, but then they go through a really nice simple presentation. It's very like some education based stuff in it too, but then they're already sold because they've kind of seen the data beforehand. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
for someone like him, I do this. So again, he can get like the kind of keep the whole like first new patient kind of onboarding thing, but then you can still run a model where you can have the low ticket going and making money. And if you can keep the fulfillment costs low enough for it, then it makes sense. But That's what I would do for someone like him. You can also just sell like a detox protocol that's general for everybody. Have order bumps, so it's straight info, no assessment, and then have them book their call, where then they would sell them into the high ticket directly. I think it's better just like get right to the high ticket. I wouldn't delay it, but those are like the two paths you could take.
I love this. I mean, like I kind of said, my ecom business is pure selling lab tests, direct to
Yeah,
consumer
yeah.
without having
Which you
people
know
go
how
to
to
their
do.
doctor.
Like, so you're literally
So
doing the same thing.
that is very, yeah, exactly. That's
And on
very
the pitch,
aligned
it's a lot
there.
better. Like, it's a lot easier to sell. Like, I wish for our health
Hmm.
offer, there's not really any kind of lab tests we can do. So we can't really get away with that. We've thought about trying to do something else, but just it's not a scalable model as like a lab test would be. But I love the idea. Like, if you can do that, like it's just on ads and everything.
Hmm.
Like, people rather buy something physical than just like the info. I mean, people will pay for info, but you are selling like air and like a story that they have to go and do it versus like, oh,
Yep.
I'm buying the physical thing that gets shipped to me. I mean, it's just an easier pitch for sure.
And the results like speak for yourself. It's like not even like you have to hard sell too much because it's like, look, dude, you're pretty fucked up. Like we
Yeah,
could help
exactly.
you.
Yeah. It's like this data's right there. It's like, here you go.
Yeah,
So
the
what's wrong?
data's right there. What's your health offer that you're doing if you don't mind me asking? What's the
So I'll be vague with it just because like I have a
Mhm.
million marketers, I'll try to rip it. But we stay in the pain division. So anything like pain and joint
Okay,
pain,
got you.
anything pain relief would be like the broad market. We actually have a call with another creator who we might be partnering with who does all types of pain. Like he has best-selling books in every category, every common joint pain, this or that. He's written an individual book on for that. So we're going like super broad. So yeah, just anything in the pain relief. And then I do like anything, any health way. Like I'd love to expand. Like I said, like we've had like the female mold offer we're sitting on that's just kind of waiting there. That was more like very like mold detox was a big trend. I think obviously still is, but it was big like I feel like there was a year when it was just popping. Like it was like the thing on social media. So for me, like I definitely want to get
Yeah.
in the business of like timing the trends where like a health trends where you can because they'll support your sales process even better. So you can like pump the trend, crush it, and then just kind of like ride it out and keep it going. But I think that's kind of like the model I'm looking for is like studying health trends, like what is the big thing people are trying to detox or remove or like focus on right now. So like I know a big one is like I think sleep has always been a big one, but we have Brian Johnson with the blueprint pushing sleep a ton.
Yep.
Longevity, he's kind of making that a trend. So it's like the market's starting to get there. So I bet you can come in and just like go into that market and niche down and sweep up a huge segment of market of people who don't like Brian but may like someone else. So that's how I like to
Hmm.
approach it.
Yeah, dude, you have my wheel spinning right now because one thing that I have access to like via doing the lab testing stuff is like all of these tests, whether it's like um, how much mold you have in your body, how much heavy metals you have in your body, what nutrients you're deficient in, how messed up is your gut health, what's your microbiome showing. Like there's so many different offers you can
Yeah.
run with that. And I think that I just as an inexperienced marketer, like I felt very limited in the sense of like the margin on those isn't great in the sense of like if you just bought that test straight up online from a different company, like what you get that test wholesale for is 15%, 10% more expensive than the wholesale cost. So for me, I was like,
Yes.
this doesn't really make sense. But I like how you're thinking about things. It's kind of opening
Yeah.
my eyes a bit in that realm.
Yeah, stuff crushes. Like Dr. Pompa does the same thing. Um, I heard they're more sketch though. I'm not trying to like. I feel like they'd be the people low key if they found us coming like sue me. That'd be kind of funny, dude. Honestly, they seem aggressive. But like I've talked to some people, and allegedly people like that, there are bad people who rig tests to
Yeah.
say the same answer every time,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to buy the high ticket offer. Allegedly. All right. Hey, doc, I feel like he scares me, bro. I feel like he's coming for me, bro. I feel like bro, if he does, guys, it's proof. It's proof. But I've heard from certain people who have sold on the offer, or I've heard from certain people that sold on that where it's like it's very aggressive, where like you are gonna die. Like there's always an issue. And so I think the health market gets abused by direct response marketers like that. Where, because imagine, like, imagine if the test you sent everybody, if every time it came, it was like skewed, whereas
Crazy.
very sensitive.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, it's always like, bro, that's like
It's nuts.
that's like sending a pregnancy test. Like a pregnancy test always says you're pregnant. It's like, shoot, I guess you need like, bro.
Oh man.
So bad. So obviously I understand like the health market gets abused. It's very like you have to be very careful. You're playing with something very sensitive.
No,
It's like
no
I feel like
doubt.
it's even worse than like bad biz op. Because at least biz op's like your investment, like you lose
Mm-hmm.
money and like okay, like bad investment, maybe you go bankrupt, worst case, or you lost some money, you paid off. But if you're messing with someone's health, there's a lot more. You gotta be a lot careful with it. So we try to we're very like and our creators we work with, like if anything, he's very specific on
Legit.
who we can work with, who we can help, who we can't. Like,
Mm.
and it does make the sales process harder, but it's worth it because we have
In the
happy
long run.
customers. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So for me, like thinking through a lot of stuff you were saying, like the Josh Axe stuff is something that I'm going to dive into today deeply for
Yeah.
sure.
Go buy all the
Um,
stuff.
but in the sense of like, so I don't have a lot of paid ads experience. I wouldn't consider myself a great direct response marketer. Um,
Hmm.
for me, like if you were in my shoes thinking about how to assemble, going back to the first part of our
Yeah.
conversation, like how would you approach that in the sense of like obviously there's a billion different agencies you could work with and stuff like that.
Mm.
How would you approach that?
With ads has like never been easier because now the creative is all, or the targeting is all AI, so you don't need to be good at targeting this or that. You can set big caps to say, I only want to spend this much to acquire a customer and like hit that. And so the only like moat to it now is good creative, which you've already dialed if you've done organic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel
So
good
it's
about that.
like,
And he's so
like you already have
he has
everything,
the
bro.
gift of
Like,
gab. Like he's such a good talker, the doctor
yeah.
himself.
So if you already know how to do organic, like most of our winning ads just were Instagram reels that we cut in a CTA halfway through. So like just that's it. Like just in like worst case, you can get a VA who like schedules campaigns or turns things on or off or whatever. But even then, that's pretty easy to do yourself at the start. Well, yeah, I mean, when it comes to ads, like don't be worried about that. Like you already
Mm-hmm.
have all the talent and the skills for that. Like most people suck at ads because they suck at the creatives. And all you've done up until this point is the creative
Yeah, literally all
process.
I've
So
done.
like you have everything you need. The rest that like a cheap media buyer could go and schedule and set things up and like set up the technical part. Or you could just ask ChatGPT, teach me how to run bid cap campaigns and like how to set everything up. And then you plug in the creatives. Like the moat is the creatives.
It's a great point, dude. And I mean, now with like Manus and so many AI tools, it seems like it's never really been
Yeah,
easier
dude.
to be able to figure
Yeah,
all that
dude.
stuff out.
Like I was
Um,
confused on what my media buyer was doing for ads, and I was like, "Oh, I want to learn this." So I just like connected my ad account to Manus and said, like, explain to me like his media buying process and what he's doing and why he's doing it, like based on what you can see, what the strategy is, and explain it to me like I'm dumb, and it just told me, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." So like, it's pretty easy these days.
no doubt, dude. So one question I wanted to get your perspective on is obviously like you're an info guy. Um and I'm just like curious right now in terms of info versus agency versus e-com. And there's obviously a trillion different businesses people preach. Um and there's a ton of pros and cons for each. And I think one right now that's like in the world of AI starting to people are starting to open their eyes to is like traditional boring businesses of like
Mm,
home services, HVAC, all this type of stuff where it's like, maybe they don't have the most sophistication in terms of marketing methods.
yeah.
Um, how should someone think about like, all right, they haven't started a business, they want to start a business, or maybe they feel like the business they're currently doing
Mm,
isn't the right model.
mm.
How would you think about that? Like weighing all the different models and just from what you've seen, the pros and cons for 'em.
I believe we should all create constraints for what we do and don't want to be responsible for. The reason why I see people switch from one to another, they go from one business to the boring ones or boring to the complex ones or whatever it may be, is because in that initial business, there were responsibilities that they didn't want to deal with or be in charge of managing or overseeing. And so people crash out, they don't do it. Like we saw that in info with webinars, people are like, man, I don't want to be responsible for running a webinar every single week, even though so now webinars are dead. And it's like, well, how are they still running today and making so much money? It's like, they're not dead. It's just, there's a mass majority of the public that didn't want to be responsible for that. Or I don't want to do one-on-one coaching. I don't want to be responsible for that. Okay. And so it's just, people don't get clear on what constraints they want for their lives. And so for me, I just am very clear on the constraints I have for my life. And I know what I do and don't want to be responsible for after trying a bunch of things. So then when I do, it protects you from shiny objects because I'm like, no, I know what my constraints are. I know what I do and don't want to be responsible for. And so I'm going to stick to that until I can't anymore, until I need to add something in. And I just run with that. So I think it's a game of test a bunch of things, actually stick to it, and then see okay, this responsibility I don't like in this business, can I outsource it? Can I assemble it out? Can I not touch it? Or will I always have to deal with it? And am I okay with that? And then you can bounce. But for me, I personally love making connections and deal making and negotiating and just kind of networking that game. So I like my model of publishing experts and doing it that way. I love that responsibility and a business model of e-commerce. I'm not really going to get to do that unless I was maybe if I did a ran campaigns for influencer deals or something like that, maybe I could. So I'm thinking okay, I know my constraints, what I love, and I can look at any business and be what role could I play in that business doing that? I don't think people do that. So I know for me, I was shoot, if all this fails, I would be a really good affiliate manager. Or if I went to a software company for Whop or something, and I was on their sales team, and I was
That's a
meant
great
to
one.
convince people to get on Whop. I would love that because I'm talking to people, I'm at events, I'm networking. I'm very good at being a spokesperson. I know for me, I am a great spokesperson is what I realized. So I love the responsibility of hyping other people up. I can get people sold and psyoped into a product I use and love. And so I'm okay, that works well for my model and my responsibilities in publishing. So I do that. So I think everyone here, it's just what do you want to be responsible for? What do you don't? Sometimes you have to suck it up and be responsible for something you don't like for a while until you make more money. So stop jumping from things, but then be conscious enough to be am I digging myself into a business model that is going to always have me responsible for things I don't like? And then before you shift to another business, check that and be am I just getting myself into another situation I won't like? So I think that just comes with time. It took me, 10 years now to get to this point where I feel pretty clear on what I like to be responsible for. And I genuinely wake up every single day and I'm excited to do what I do. I love what I work on. I know what burns me out, what doesn't burn me out, but it took forever to get to that point. So part of it's just time.
Yeah. I think, freedom is such an interesting dynamic in the sense of so many people want to optimize their life for freedom. And I think as guys, and obviously we can only speak from that perspective. To me, I feel like I find my most joy in the constraints, and kind of, constraints that you like kind of gives you that one, the responsibility, and two, eliminates that paradox of choice. It's have you ever heard of that study that they did where they give people an art and they give people a painting and they let half the people know that if they don't like the painting they could come back and return it for another painting, and the other half people they say it's final purchase, and then they
Mm,
rate customer satisfaction accordingly. And all the people who got the free painting that couldn't return it for something else had way higher satisfaction than the ones that could return it. um, and it's an interesting paradox, freedom.
yeah, I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah, I think that definitely is some people they'll and also be able to get psyoped by other people and other people's propaganda. And I get it, it's a game, but it's you gotta learn how to defend yourself against that and just stick to what you like and enjoy and be oh, that's really cool, but also know when to say no and delay. Like for me, I'd love to own a laundromat, and like I really want to, just because growing up, we went to one and growing up, and we had to use one, and so I was like, dude, like I'd love to do that, but I'm not gonna like go derail everything I'm doing now. I'm like, I'm just gonna build up my business right now, and then when I want to dump an investment into something physical, when I'm bored or just like want to do that, then I will. But it's just knowing when to like push things off and delay it till later.
Yeah. Um, Dude, I want to learn a little bit about Whop because I've followed Iman for forever. I'm a huge fan of Iman and all of his stuff.
Yeah.
Um, Nothing I really have done for my businesses has been in the world of Whop, you know? So I haven't explored it enough. I've been on the platform couple dozen times and have been a little confused at times of what I'm looking at. I think the content reward stuff is sick. I definitely want to do some of that later down the road. But
Mhm.
I think a lot of people are like starting to hear about it and don't really have a full picture of what's going on with it. What's like the sales pitch for WAP? Like, are you a fan? What's kind of going on with WAP?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm biased because I work with Whop. They pay me. So just to be clear, like I am on retainer. I help run Whop University with Tiana. Shout out Tiana. With like Ryan Clog, he runs Whop X. So we run like the education side of Whop, the free education side of it. So I help work with the people going from 0 to 10,000 and 10,000 to 100. And then Ryan works with people going from 1 to 10 mil and 10 million on past there.
Sheesh.
So we have income-based masterminds here. So instead of it's like you have to pay to join this mastermind to be with really cool people that are at your same level. We just know what level you're at because on WAP it's just processed through
Mm.
there. So like for example, we have I think it's 250 people inside of WAP X that are all making over 100,000 a month that are all just hanging out there, and it's a free mastermind that you don't have to pay for. So we're pretty much going in and just like in terms of like the info space or mastermind, not to like be not to make it like an us versus them, but it's really cool. It's like you don't have to pay a ton of money now to hang out with other people at your level. And you know when you go into a room, like there's no hiding like who's making what. You know who's legit and who's not. So very transparent. And so I think that's awesome, like what we're doing there. And then as a platform, like what people, it's funny, like people used to think, and I used to think this too, that it was like WAP versus school, or we were just a community platform, this or that. It's like, dude, we're in the payments business. We're in like the payment processing business, and the business of helping people make money online and connecting with like the right tools to do that. So the people that, process and use WAP as payment processors, like the different companies and businesses, it's such a wide range. And so it's like we're not even playing in the same ballpark of trying to be like a school or a Kajabi. It's like we do have like amazing features that rival those small tools and like little add-ons, but at its core, like we're developing like something truly like that's going to go deep and far into the market, and it has its fingers in so many different markets and industries that it's so much further than info.
Mm.
Now, when it comes to info, like for us, like how I use it, my use case. So for all things mid-ticket and high ticket, I process through WAP using their payment links. So it's just like how a Stripe link would work. We just use their payment links. So I use all that processing, agency, coaching, whatever it may be, it's all through there. All of my low tickets, since I build on things like Go High Level and One Click Up sells and order bumps, I don't process through WAP for that just because they haven't built. It's not like a Stripe where it can just connect as an
Mhm.
integration to Go High Level and just be your sole payment processor. You could embed your WAP order form to a Go High Level page and process it, but it wouldn't integrate where like like you have to do some custom stuff. It's getting there. We're almost done with that, but it's not the same as where it just plugs right into Go High Level and you do a one-click upsell. It just charges that and like connects to WAP. Like there's just some things that limit that. So we use it for just mid-ticket, high ticket on the back end. So for all of our brands, we do it that way. So definitely for like your coaching dude, like for what he's doing, I think it's good to have it on WAP. Plus you can set up team and auto distribute. So like if you're doing splits with him, the money can get auto split right
Oh,
away.
that
So
is
it's not
sick.
like sharing bank accounts. So I see a great
Man,
use
that's
cases
awesome.
there. Financing abilities too, like it's all built in. So if you want to get approved for different financing, it's all just directly through that. So I think that's for the best use cases right now. And then what else I think? And then, yeah, I think just how accessible and like down to earth these people are. Like since they're not massive company like Stripe, like you don't know who's running Stripe. They're not public facing. You can't talk to them. But it's like if you were to tag one of the founders of Whop, chances are they'd reply back to you. And I remember when I first got started, they would. Like they're just there and they're very active and quick to respond. That's really nice, especially when it's anything to do with your money. You want to know you can reach somebody in case something goes wrong.
Yeah, it's
So
crazy how
obviously,
hard it is to reach some of these
yeah,
businesses.
dude, like, gosh, man, which it's like, yeah. So obviously I'm biased because I'm a part of it, but I do have like my pros and cons list, and obviously like my cons list, they continue to make it even better, like the UI of it and the functionality, like it's always improving. And so I think it's fire. And then also it's the point now where they just had a like almost like a lovable, but for WAP. So like with an
Whoa,
AI, you tell exactly what you want. It'll make all your chats, courses, apps, like branding done. So it's like that functionality is super nice too when you're if
that's
you're
sick.
launching like a new community. It's just like AI, just say I need this, and it's just done.
Man, that is very cool. Yeah, I'm excited to dive into it more. I mean, I'm fascinated by it. I love their marketing. I'm so their target demographic
Yeah, dude.
because the
Oh,
shit they do on their YouTube videos are my favorite.
have you seen Slash Banking? Have you checked out Slash Banking? Do you use
I think
them?
so. No, no. Slash
Dude,
banking. Let me
a
check it
lot of
out.
e-com people use it. It's like it was built for like e-commerce businesses, but now it's for anybody. I love
Oh,
Slash as a
nice.
product, and I love their marketing too. Like they
Their
also have just
cards
the
are
best
cool.
marketing. Yeah,
I
bro.
gotta check it
Like
out.
it's
I
so
gotta check it out.
luxury, dude. It's like, and they have
This
great
is great.
rewards. They have great bank. Like, dude, it's like if I want to open up a new business bank, like it's in seconds, just boom, done. Like it's
That's
almost like
awesome.
it's like a fintech banking. So it's kind of like a
Hmm.
Mercury, but built for
I was gonna say.
e-commerce and info people.
Oh, that's big time. I'm definitely going to
Yeah, dude, they're awesome.
look
I
into
moved
this.
all of my stuff over there. They have a treasury account that's at like a 4%, I think, for that. So I have all like my treasuries with them. So I use them a ton.
We gotta get Slash and Whop sponsor the pod, dude. I gotta
Bro,
set my
shoot. Yeah,
game
where's
up,
my
man.
affiliate link?
I know,
Slash
right?
shoot,
Shit.
man. Man, I'm out here
Um,
promoting you guys.
well, dude, so quick question for you, just like as a marketer, from your perspective. So like right now it is March 3rd, right? Yeah, March 3rd. Starting today, we are doing 4 podcasts a week. So I've done little context. Like I've done this podcast now for 4 years. It's something I started like early in college, just kind of feeling like everyone around me had different goals than me, and I was like, I want to talk to people
Yeah.
doing cool things. And so I just started the podcast. I ran it for past 4 years, like purely as a hobby, not really focusing on the growth of it, just because I enjoyed it so much. Um, and now I kind of had this realization of like, and I always kind of told myself, oh, I only do it because I love doing it. But more recently, I was like, dude, I want to take this thing fucking serious
Mm,
and really see where I could take this thing um, from a marketing standpoint. So we're doing 4 episodes a week.
yeah.
Just hired some full time editors to do like ton of clipping. Um, from your perspective, like how would you think about growing a podcast or approaching, growing this thing to something bigger?
I think every podcast needs like a theme or like a unique positioning where it's like my first million. Like what would you say is their narrative and theme or like their if like one word to describe like their or like a sentence to describe their content, what would you say?
Like how I built it.
Yeah, how I built it, business ideas, like different ways people
Yeah,
made their
business
first
ideas.
million.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like just it's like a playground of like ideas and ideation. So you listen to that to like expand your mind there. So I go to them like, oh, I'm feeling like I want to like open my mind to what's possible. So let me check that out. Then you think about like starter story. Like what is starter story known for? Like have you seen their stuff?
Yeah, yeah, seen their stuff.
Like
Essentially just that.
yeah, how I started.
Yeah.
What's our business? I like there's one like limited supply. You ever listen to limited supply
I
when they were
have
posting that
many,
on?
many
Yeah.
times. I've had Nick on the
I
podcast.
wish I wish it was, what's his name? Nick Sharma, and then his one original partner was Gavin Native. What was that called?
Oh, I
His name
forget that
was,
guy's name. I started listening kind of after that point, but
yeah. So
you
Nick
met
Sharma.
Nick?
No, I haven't. I haven't crossed paths with him, but I love that when they were together. So I'd listen. I'm not even in ecom, but I was just like I would listen. Like it's very clear on what it's for. So I think every podcast, it's like it's got to be like, what is it about? Like I think when people just like random, it's all over the place. You're like, what do I come back for? Like I don't know what it is, or like you just kind of you can do the ones where maybe there's podcasts that are mass market where they just interview whoever's trending the most. So that's where you see like the more celebrity podcasts, and they're just who's the biggest name because they're playing that game. But for us, like it just needs like niche, like what are you known for? And it's crazy. Like Starter Story just sold to HubSpot,
Crazy.
which is like, so it's like you have a niche, they have a market, then they built a website in the back end that's tied to it. So it's like the monetization map is clear. So like there has to be like a theme behind it. And then that kind of filters out like your marketing. So I think that's like when I think about, because I've done interviews and I did the whole thing where I would interview people just to do it. I didn't really care to, I didn't really have a plan for it. But then I started noticing which interviews popped off. And so now like for me, when I interview people, I realize like the people that liked me interviewing were like these underground people that are faceless online that like are invisible online, but are making a ton of money online. And I'm like the person who somehow has the ability to do these like first time podcasts, these people who never would show their face, and now like bring them to the public light. So like not to take credit 100% for what like Ryan Clogg has built, but I was the first person to interview him and do content with him online and post his story and talk to him, and was like, then after that his YouTube career started, he started posting more, but it was his first podcast ever. And it's like, look where he is now. And you think about Jordan Diskowski, the homeless affiliate. Like he's this one guy I interviewed, and like he's a faceless dude, never
Saw
showed
that.
his face. That now he's like after the interview, he's getting all these opportunities. He's very well known. It's like no one knew about him before, and no one had like brought him on. First interview ever. Doug, my one friend Doug, who's like still like can't even say his last name because he wants to become like still anonymous.
Yeah.
No one's ever interviewed him, but he's doing $2 million a month from his health brand, low ticket only,
Badass.
bringing up 2 exclusive interviews. So for me, I'm always like, all right, I know my theme of what I want to do. And obviously for me, it's hard because it's like, how do I even find those people? Because it's like
Right.
happenstance. Like you kind of hope that they appear.
Yeah.
So, but that's like my filter. It's like, I need someone who's invisible online, but's making a ton of money online. And then I bring them on. So I think every podcast needs a theme like that.
I love that, dude. I think that that's probably the biggest thing, the podcast has lacked. It was like, since it was just a hobby, it was like, oh, that sounds cool. Let's have you on.
Yeah, yeah.
But now I'm kind of thinking a business building podcast for guys in their 20s, talk AI, future proofing, online business, and having founders on.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we'll see where it takes it, brother. I'm looking forward to doing a round 2 of this.
Yes, sir.
I
Appreciate you
so
having me on.
appreciate you coming on, bro. I learned a ton,
Heck yeah, bro. Great
and we
questions. Thanks
will.
for
I
having me.
appreciate you, bro. And we'll talk soon.
Let's go.
Oh, wait. First, last thing before we
Yeah.
before we finish. To learn more from you or people. So for me, right, I've watched some of your YouTube interviews and stuff. After listening to this
Yep.
conversation, I'm like, damn, does he have a course? Can I buy one of his
I
courses?
know.
Dude,
Hey,
Eddie,
buy
like
my
if we want to
course.
learn from you, dude, Eddie places you should send people.
It's only YouTube right now. Like
Okay,
I'm supposed to post it soon, but I will have like another free course video I'll be putting out on YouTube and stuff.
let's
But
go.
yeah, the only thing that I have that is like info related is I have a certification program where I like make mini me's and I deploy them into brands that come to me. So my main hub is ascensionofficer.com. And that's where you got like people can apply to work with me, and or if people want to get certified by me and become a certified Ascension officer, that's like my go-to spot. But all my info related education is on YouTube. I go live every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. CST and do a masterclass that goes for either an hour to 2 hours long. And so, yeah, I have my next one in an hour here. So that's like the main hub for all my info.
Awesome. Well, we'll link to that stuff in the description. Appreciate you, bro. Talk to you soon.